All right, ball's here now. Okay, so the defender, right, is going to start to understand, okay, there's a pick coming. All right, so they're going to start to understand the nuance of what they need to do, which is open up their hips. All right, but we're focused more on the offensive player here. So the ball is going to drive over top side. Okay, so now again we have physical movement, right, of our feet. And that is what we would want to see there. All right, the other thing, let me get rid of some of these extra lines. All right, so this pick is being set. The other thing that we'd want to add to this would be, always fake opposite of what you're going to do. So for this player, he's about to drive top side. So before he does that, he might want to take one step or two steps underneath, right, and then drive top side. All right. Okay. So what's happening here is just a simple pass down, pick down, drive top side. Once this player gets to here, right, this is the ball carrier, right, he's just going to come over the top and shoot. Okay, so this is going to be the shot of our pass down, pick down. Okay, the flow of this drill is as follows. We're going to go from offense to defense to offense. So after we set the pick, right, we become the next defender. All right, so let me get rid of a bunch of these extra lines. All right, if we reset this, right, this player started here. This player started here. All right, this is an offense line. This is our one defender, and this is an offense line. So after you pass down, right, pass, cut to the middle, come back out, set this pick, all right, come over the top, shoot, okay. This player that just played defense, right, he is now going to go to the offense line over here. Right, he's going to become an offensive player. This player that set that pick, right, he is now going to be the next defender. Right, and this person that started in this bottom line and came over the top and shot, right, they are going to go back up to this top line. So that's the drill flow. All right, offense, defense, offense. All right, and if you're in this offensive line, technically you get 2 offensive reps in a row. All right. So no questions there. Okay, good. All right, so what we want to add to this, and one of the little notes that I put in the practice plan is that before, like one of the things I like to do before actually teaching the pick and roll is teaching the slip. Okay, teaching the slip. So this is one of those things that I think can be taken advantage a lot more than it is, right? If this player passes down, so now the ball is here. All right, we'll just use this arrow as the ball movement, or this check mark rather. So the ball's down to here. This player is cutting to the middle of the field, right? As this player is relocating themselves, keeping their defender busy up towards what we would call the midboards or the wing, right? And this defender is just kind of following along. This player is like, okay, I should come back out and set this pick, all right? But now, if the defender, right, now we're going to add a second defender here. So this slip is just relevant as like a stick work drill. But if this defender is already telling himself that he's going to have to switch, right now, before this pick even happens, this offensive player that came in already has inside position, right? He is already closer to the goal than his current defender. So instead of actually coming out to set this pick, right, he'll just cut hard to the net, and this pass will just happen right away. So it's before the pick even happens. The slip is a really, really good way to progress into the two-man game, because you're teaching the kids that you don't have to set a pick to utilize the two-man game, right? The whole purpose of this is to gain inside position, right? And so since this player already has that, right, he has the opportunity to just cut early. All right, that was tough arrow work right there. All right, so he has inside position, and that's why the slip here makes sense. All right, so now let's move this on. We got our actual two-man game, all right? And apparently I was drawing a bunch of hearts and I didn't realize it. Okay, so now we're just going to do a 2-on-2 from the wing. All right, I'm going to get rid of this elbow just for ease of aesthetics here. So we're going to do our two-man game from the wing, and we'll set this up the same way where it's a pass down, pick down. And we can incorporate that game within the game of inside position. It becomes more obvious when the defenders are out there. All right, so what we'll do is we'll pass down. Now the ball is here. This player is going to cut to the middle. Right, his defender should stay with him inside. Right, maybe a little bit tighter now. As this player moves upfield to the midboards with the ball. All right, now this player is going to come out and start to set this pick. Right, as this player starts to drive top side. All right, so he's going to drive, take 1 or 2 steps under, okay, to get this defender to bite on that a little bit, all right, and then immediately fully commit to that top side drive, right, timing it up, hopefully, so that this player can actually utilize the pick. Okay, so this is where the defense really has to make their decisions, right? This defender's getting picked off. You know, are they going to stay where this defender tries to get through, or are they going to switch where this defender would now pick up the ball carrier? All right, but either way, right, this player, this offensive player that sets the actual pick, they're the one that's going to be able to take advantage of having inside position, right? If they switch this, right, which is going to happen more times than not, aka, you know, this person's current defender now switches on to the ball carrier who they're deeming as more dangerous. If we were to take this position right now, right, and this player cuts, he already has inside position. Right, he already has inside position. What they would need to do, you know, upon switching is this defender would have needed to relocate themselves inside to gain inside position, right, to avoid this from breaking down. Okay, so in this case, let's say this defender plays it well. So they switch. So this on-ball defender now switches and picks up this guy, right? Opens up his hips, gets inside him. All right, there's a lot of physicality that's within that moment, right? And now this player picks up the ball carrier, who's now here. Okay, so right now the defense is doing a really, really good job. All right, this is two-man games happening. Defense is doing a great job of handling it. Okay. Offensively, what we would do to counter this is we would just immediately re-pick. Okay, so this defender is doing a good job. They switch. No one has inside position. So let's say this is a righty, right, driving top side on his right hand right now. Now they're going to re-pick. So this defender is going to set an up pick. He just set a down pick. Now he's setting an up pick, right? Now this person is going to face dodge underneath. Come back underneath this pick, right? And what that'll do is that'll cause another switch. Now this person's going to stop to the ball, and there is that utilization of inside position where now this guy can cut and this guy is chasing. Right? He's chasing the ball there. So that would be a pick and re-pick progression of this pass down, pick down, where we go pass down and then drive top side and then pick up just to face dodge and come back underneath, right? All for the purpose of winning inside position. So that's one of the big reasons why I like to teach the slip first, as I mentioned, because this is a complex thing. Like this isn't something that the youth kids are just going to pick up. They're going to be playing a lot of two-man games from the wing before they really, before you see anyone try to do this intentionally. Whereas the slip, where we just pass down, right? I'll just clear this out. right? The slip where we just pass down, right? We don't even need defenders here, right? This person passes down. Okay, cuts to the middle. Starts to cut out, and then just cuts. So it's like a zigzag cut. What I've done in the past, this player has the ball on their stick. They kind of cut up field, and then they feed to that cutter, right? What I've done in the past is I'll literally just set cones up, right? If these stars are my cones, we've got a cone here for the starting point, cone here, and then I'll put a cone here, a cone here, and a cone here. And I literally am going to say, okay, pass down, right? Pass down to this cone right here. When this person catches it, run to this cone. After you pass down, you're going to run to this cone, run to this cone, run to that cone, catch and shoot. So it's really just like a cutting and catching and shooting drill. They don't realize that we're working a two-man game slip here. So that's where, especially for our younger groups, our younger players, this is an easy way to teach them a complex concept, right? If we start talking about a two-man game and the different options and the slip versus the roll versus the early or whatever, it's just going to confuse them. Whereas if we just use these cones to try to create a pattern for their running, it's a lot easier. All right. So moving right along here. So that's our two-man game with two defenders. So we worked on the two-man game with one defender. That was our two-man game with two defenders. We talked about the slip. All right. And now we're going to go continuous, what I call continuous 2v2s from the wings. This is really getting into more of like a gameplay style. So we've got 4 lines here. All right. And I'll draw this out where X's are one team and hearts are the other team. So now I'll put the lines. Here's all of our X's. All right. This is our wing, our ideally righty wing, but it really doesn't matter for our younger players. And here would be our team hearts over here on this other side. So in this drill, ideally we have a coach. We'll put the coach up top here for a star. So the coach is up top with all the balls. All right. What they'll have to decide is just who's on defense first. So let's just say hearts are on defense first, since we already said that earlier. So the first 2 hearts in these lines are going to come out and play defense for this first rep. Okay. The coach has the ball, and he's going to pass it to either one of these 2 lines. Okay. That's totally up to him. So let's say he passes it to this top line just to keep it simple. Upon this person catching it, we just have a live 2-on-2. All right. We can use the pass down, pick down. He could pass it down to here. Right. And then the ball could get passed back up for a pass up pickup, right? Where this player would cut to the middle and then come out and set a pick. It really doesn't matter. This is where they can just play. You don't need to have a specific set for this. All right, so let's say this ball's up top, and this player is going to pass it down and pick down like we've been working on. And this defender goes with him. All right, he comes out to set this pick as this ball carrier starts to come topside. Okay, so we've got our 2-man game happening. Whatever happens, happens. And then this is a continuous drill. So the flow of this goes offense, defense, out. So let's say this person comes over top and shoots. All right, whatever happens. Okay, immediately after that shot is taken, so this ball, boom, gets shot. Immediately after that shot is taken, the 2 people that were just playing defense would run back to their line. So they're out of the drill. The 2 people that were just playing offense are now on defense. So you go offense, defense, out. So now they're on defense over here. The coach would now throw a new ball to either one of these 2 lines. All right, so it's these 2 versus these 2, and now we've got a 2-man game from this side. All right, so whatever happens here, let's say this person does a pass, a pick down, right? So he immediately comes down to the center in the elbow area, and this ball carrier drives top side. Something like this. The defense plays it really well. So they set another pick, and he comes underneath and scores an easy goal because they were paying attention. All right. And then immediately after that rep happens, all right, these two X's that were just on defense, they're out. They're going back to their line. These guys are going over here to play defense. And the coach would now throw a new ball in from here. Boom. Next one's live. So continuous 2v2s. This is an awesome example of one of those drills that, if we prioritize drill flow, AKA they know when they come to the front of the line, they're going to play defense. And then they're actually reacting. There's if you ask them, hey, what do you do after you play offense? They'll say, I'm going to play defense. But then when they play offense, they stand there and they don't know where they're supposed to be, right? So it takes 3, 4, 5 minutes sometimes, sometimes 3, 4, 5 reps each kid for them to be like, as soon as that rep's over, boom, they transition, they go right over to defense. And now the coach can start passing that next ball in very, very quickly and forcing this to be a very, very high speed back and forth drill where, everyone's getting a lot of touches, everyone's getting a lot of reps. And the other thing to keep in mind here would be to spend time, give the X's a chance to take, to switch sides, right? Switch sides of the field and make sure that athletes are getting reps of this two-man game offensively and defensively from both the left wing and the right wing. All right. So that's our continuous 2v2s. And then for those that might be, actually, looking at practice plans and wanting to see this practice plan, a really easy progression from this setup where you really don't have to change anything except for, adding more lines is turn this into a continuous 3v3 drill where you just add a third line there and add a third line here. All right. And this can be a continuous 3v3 drill. And then for those that are with me on this one as well, you can turn this into a different version of what we would consider West Jenny. So West Jenny being like that up and down, continuous 3v2 drills, continuous 3v2 drill with 2 cages. This would be a continuous 3v2 drill with only 1 cage on a lateral basis, right? So whoever touches that ball last, let's say the ball's over here. So 2 defenders are out here for the Hearts. Okay, this 3v2 happens. This guy cuts. This guy drops down. The ball carrier drives with the ball. Whatever happens, he passes it, someone shoots. So let's say this person shot the ball. They would be out of the drill, right? So this rep happens. It's a 3-on-2. This shot happens. Boom, they're out of the drill. That ball is gone. They are out. They can just go back to line. And these 2 would be the next 2 on defense. These 2 off after defense are out of the drill. All right, and now the coach is going to throw a new ball in for a 3v2 from this side. All right, so this is just a really nice setup to incorporate, of course, two-man games, which we're focused on in this practice plan, but now adding extra players depending how big your group is. This is a good way to get more players involved and make it a continuous 3v2. You can make a continuous 3v3. You can have just the 2 lines and have 2 players from each line go. So now it's a 4v4 drill. So that's an easy way to build this drill up. All right, so moving on here. Lastly, what I have in this practice plan is, oh boy, what happened to my, oh, there we go. Lastly, what I have in this practice plan is this Laxall game. So I've gone over this in a couple different scenarios, but here's how I would use it to incorporate the 2-man game that we've been working on for this full practice. So first things first with this, I got to draw some shapes here. Let's see what happens with this. Oh, that's nice. First things first is we got to set boundaries. Okay. This is going to be our field. And I'm going to draw some new nets here. And these will be our cages. All right, so this is a full field game, but this is I love this for youth because you don't necessarily need goalies. If you have goalies, that's awesome, but you don't necessarily need goalies. And what you would do is you would with cones, you'd create this arc. Okay, so this is what we would call the shooting or scoring zone. You create this arc, and the rule is you cannot shoot unless you are within this arc. All right, and so what that forces is the offensive players to have to get inside, right, to get an opportunity to shoot. And so players can play both offense and oh, that's not right, both offense and defense without worrying about leaving an open net. Okay, so this is a great game for 4, 5, 6 on 6, but everybody plays full field. All right, let's see what happens if I start drawing some players out here. So let's say we have a 5 on 5, and this team's on defense right now. All right, and we've got our hearts on offense. Here's the ball here. Okay, so what's going to happen here is if this player shoots from outside the arc, it just doesn't count, right? And this arc can be like 5, 6, 7 yards from the goal, right? So it forces the off-ball players to try to get inside the arc and try to catch balls in there, or it forces the offensive player to just literally try to drive themselves and get into that zone before they shoot. As things stand right now, things are a bit clustered. So let's say we spread our offense out a little bit more to leave that prime scoring area open, for this ball carrier to try to get into, right? And then as that happens, obviously these defenders are going to start to converge, right? But this would just be a simple way to set up our scrimmage, right? And what we want to add to this is our 3-second rule, all right? So we've got our scoring zone. We've got our 3-second rule. So the 3-second rule is just basically that when you have the ball in your stick, all right, so this player has the ball, you've got 3 seconds to get rid of it, or it's literally a turnover, all right? One of the hardest things to teach youth lacrosse players, and maybe lacrosse players in general, is consistent off-ball movement, right? When you have the ball in your stick and someone's trying to check it from you, it's very obvious to move around, right? But when we have a teammate that has a ball in their stick and they are not necessarily needing help, or they are running around with the ball, it's not obvious where I should go. Like, this player is like, I don't know what to do, right? Whereas if we have a 3-second rule in place where this player knows if he doesn't have a teammate to pass to within 3 seconds, it's a turnover. All of a sudden, they start cutting. They start running around the field, and they're like, okay, I got to try to get open, right? And this guy cuts to the ball. Maybe that's the pass that gets made to save the possession simply because we didn't have the ball in our stick for too long. It's been a really, really magical rule that starts to enforce this off-ball movement for the younger players that I don't think really would have done it otherwise. Okay. So those are the foundational rules here. And then what we want to emphasize here, based on the 2-man game concept that we've been working on, is understanding the line that goes down the center of the field. All right. And this line is going to represent, okay, where we want to try to run a 2-man game pending our players' hands. So we want to try to play to our strength, meaning righties should be over here. Thanks, Sean. I love that rule too. Sean says, I love that rule. I might add in defenders have to count the 3 seconds out loud, or offense gets to keep possession until they start counting, like ultimate Frisbee stock counts. I would actually advise against that, Sean, for the reason being, when I set this rule up, I don't want the kids counting because they already have enough to worry about. Like if I hear them like, oh, like he had it for 3 seconds, I'm like, hey, that's not your job to worry about this rule. That's the coach's job. I want you to just play lacrosse right now, right? The whole purpose of this rule is, again, we're trying to create an environment that causes development to happen. So ideally, the rule turns into something that kids are just passing and cutting more consistently, as opposed to like, counting in their head how long they really have. We'd really rather have them not have to worry about that. So just food for thought there. When I coach this drill, or when I coach this rule rather, I really emphasize that it's my job as the quote unquote referee of the scrimmage to count the seconds. It is your job to play lacrosse. Do not worry about the 3-second count. So just a little bit of context there. All right, so back to the center line here. All right, we want our righties on this side and we want our lefties on this side. Let's say for Hearts on offense right now that we've got 3 righties and 2 lefties. So it'd be great if we could get a 2-man game over here on this lefty side, because that is where we're going to have a little bit more space. Okay, and so the rule that we could then add to this would just simply be pick before shot. Right, so this is something that you could add in after they understand the other rules. And hey guys, we practice on our 2-man games today, so we're going to add this rule in. Before you could take a shot, you have to run some form of a 2-man game. This could be on ball, right? Right now, the ball is over here with the righties, or this could be off ball. So in this case, this could just be an off ball 2-man game where this lefty comes in to set this pick, right? And this lefty comes over top side, and we try to get them a pass, and this person slips because they're a next level player and they have inside position, and then that ball gets dumped down to the inside, and look at that, we're inside the prime scoring zone, which is, the number one nuance, as I mentioned, for this 2-man game is trying to take advantage of inside position. That's what it's all about, getting opportunities where, goals and assists start to become easier, quote unquote easier, because you didn't have to run and like beat 3 defenders and, read the slide and find the perfect skip pass. It's like, no, you could just set a pick and all of a sudden be wide open in the dead center of the field. And that is where, quote unquote, the game starts to get easier, right? So as we add this rule in here, the pick before the shot, let's just add that context of the center line of the field. Let's see if we can have our lefties on this side and our righties on this side, right? And then lastly, guys, what I just want to touch on here, because I think this is a good segue to finish up, is understanding that this is the perfect environment to start teaching those more nuanced skills, which would be like backhanders and behind the backs. So, most of your players are probably righties, all right? And most of your righties like to run to their right hand, right? So if I just get rid of some of these guys here just for the sake of this argument. So this is a righty, let's say, and they're running hard to their right hand. If they shoot this, right, if they shoot this ball, normal righty, they are decreasing their angle. That shot is going to leave their stick to the right of their body, right? Therefore decreasing their angle. If they were to stop their feet and turn to their right and throw a backhander, or a behind the back, right? This shot would now be leaving on the left side of their body. And so that's a crucial thing for kids to start thinking about, and coaches to start thinking about is, everyone wants their kids to shoot overhand. I get it, right? But if you're a righty and you're over here, right, and I have this low angle shot and my defender's right in front of me, well, if I shoot sidearm, that ball is going to leave my stick closer to the midline. So that's actually an advantage, right? Because my stick is out here to the right side of my body. This is my stick, right? Whereas if I shoot overhand, boom, it's going to come from right above my head, right? If I'm out here in the center of the field, anywhere in here, sure, overhand all day, right? But we just want to understand some of those nuances of when does it make sense, to shoot sidearm? When does it make sense to shoot behind the back or throw behind the back? When does it make sense to, learn and develop your backhanders? And I don't think that there's a certain age that it's like, oh, now they're ready. It's like, no, let's introduce this when they're in first grade. That's fine. We don't expect it to look good, right? But we can have them try, to run with their stick on their off stick side and throw backhanded passes instead of always going to their weak hand. just a little bit of the context and the nuance that we can be teaching in this environment of both two-man games and like a scrimmage style game like this. All right. All right. So let me cut this whiteboard talk here. Okay. So had some good questions here along the way. So I appreciate your guys' attention that stuck with us all the way through here. What I have lastly is just a recap of this practice plan. So let me just share my screen with you one last time here. And I've got the wrong screen up again. Sorry. Where is my practice plan? I'll just pull this up. All right, so here's this practice plan that we just went through here on the whiteboard. So again, like I mentioned, KB will have this PDF, so he can send that out to you. We've got just a little bit of context. We talked about these stick work drills to start. I like to put timing formats on the as opposed to like amount of reps or anything like that for practice plans. And this is all just completely rough. If things are going well with this drill, I might stick with this based on the kids I have in front of me. If we have momentum in a drill and they're focused, I'll tend to stay with it longer than I actually have planned. Because I'll try to play to the momentum of the group I'm working with as best I can. If their focus is off and I think we've gotten some value, but they're starting to wander, now I'll jump into that next drill. All right, so I always have flexibility with that. All right, and then we talked about the two-man game. We teach it first with no defender, right? And literally it's almost like a shooting drill where we teach that slip. You're going to cut, come out to try to set that pick, and then just cut back to the cage, right? And we're emphasizing that we want to get shots inside. We're teaching the nuance of inside position. We add one defender covering the low ball carrier, right? And that allows us to start to see the value of having inside position. And then we move into the actual live two-man games that we worked on from the wing. From there, we built to our continuous 2v2s. So back and forth and back and forth. And then we finished with this Laxall mini game. There was a couple of other things that I had in here that I did not include, but that's all right. Kevin Arnon, MBYLL coaches able to get the PDFs. Absolutely. We are biased and unbiased at the same time. So anyone who wants that PDF can certainly get it. All right. So that's going to be it for this presentation, guys. I wanted to try to focus on the two-man game, but I'm not some expert on box lacrosse and all the little nuances of how to implement it into your 6-on-6 offense. I think there's certain questions that I'm sure coaches have on that front that there's plenty of guys that can answer that question better than me, but where I do have a little bit more expertise is on implementing concepts into the practice plan and focusing on making sure that the kids are in attention and that they're focusing on quote unquote the right things. And hopefully I was able to deliver some of that value in this talk. So if you guys have questions, I'm here as a resource. KB will send that PDF out. I actually included my email right on that PDF, KB. So if guys have specific questions, they can find me there. Thanks, Alex, for the compliment. Eric, thank you for watching. I know a lot of you guys are eager to get back on the field, as Eric is mentioning. Hoping everyone's staying safe and healthy more than anything. This is obviously a pretty crazy time for all of us, and I think it's important for these kids to understand that if we have whether it's the children that we have in our house or the athletes that we have the email list that we're wondering what we should be sending out to kids. What an awesome opportunity for these kids. I think one of the things I talked about in my first talk was the fixed mindset athletes must be so frustrated right now, and the growth mindset athletes must be so excited right now, right? Those kids that are fixed mindset, that are, this is who I am, this is my game, I should be out there, I deserve to be out there, they're frustrated. Whereas the growth mindset athletes are like, wow, like what can I be doing right now? What should I be doing right now? Who can I talk to who's my resource to take advantage of some of this, all this new free time that I found on my hands. And so hopefully we can teach that opportunistic mindset. Thank you, Paolo from Italy. I'm wishing you the best of luck out there. obviously some good perspective for these kids, just to bring it full circle, what we're talking about here. I can't tell you how many kids are reaching out to me, telling me how they are frustrated about their season, and frustrated, that, they feel gypped, and they deserve to be playing right now. And I don't think you're wrong, but I think you're lacking a whole lot of perspective. If you're healthy right now and you don't have loved ones that are dealing with serious issues, you are in a great spot. So I'll cap it off there.
Awesome job, Marty. As always, much appreciated. And on behalf of MBL, thank you. And thank you for everyone who joined us this morning. Again, we have Matt Strebel is going to do coaching the midfield position. I heard he was pretty good at that. He's going to do that at 8:30 tonight. And then Marty's doing another one tomorrow morning. We got our goalie one tomorrow morning right after Marty. And then a couple of the trilogy guys are going to do coaching for beginners tomorrow night. And we'll look at some more for the future. So
for tomorrow morning, I'll be more. Hopefully, I get my Bluetooth earphones before then. But I'll do a wall ball demonstration. So I'll include a wall ball practice plan as well. And this will be great for the kids and the coaches that want to send things to their kids. But I'll have a detailed description of the wall ball program in a PDF format. I'll go through that with a stick in my hands at a wall. I'll do my best not to break my computer screen, however I end up setting that up. But that'll be my talk for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for those interested.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Stay healthy, stay safe. And we'll, again, I'll send that, for those who didn't see, I'll send that PDF to everyone who attended this, and we'll also share it out through NBYLL, but we'll get that out to everyone ASAP. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Talk soon.